Let's just go right into it. Ray Fisher's statements. I know we've been talking about it, and I hate to beat the dead horse, but we all know that a couple of days ago, Ray came out on Twitter and said, I would like to retract that statement. And we all know that statement. And it was him at Comic-Con talking about how, Joss came in and did a good job. And it was just, it was so like kind of hard to watch, cringeworthy, but at the same time, it was funny because, he's trying his best to be positive because he's under NDAs and you don't want to sound negative. And then as soon as he's done, he looks at Jason and Jason wouldn't even look at him. Jason's like, hey man, I'm happy I didn't have to say it, but
he's like, that was some good BS, man. Good BSing right there.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not approving on that, and which I thought was crazy for Ray to even say. I was like, wow, I'm really surprised that he actually came out and said that.
Well, then, if you notice, he looked like he was going to cry when he was saying it. You could hear the crackle in his voice as he was saying it too. If you go back and you watch the video, it really is. You could see the anguish in his face as he's saying it.
But I was told I have to. This looked like bad, like forced PR.
Yeah. Oh yeah, most definitely. Yeah. You could definitely tell. And then, the next day he comes out with the banger and says, and just goes all in about Joss Whedon and John Berg and Jeff Johns, and he just threw the hammer down. And I'm noticing today that some people that I follow or I watch their videos, and they're starting to say that, this is Hollywood. This is how it is. A lot of directors are assholes. This is how they run their sets. And I've heard that, like especially directors like Quentin Tarantino and stuff like that. And yeah, I understand that. But at the same time, it's showing Ray Fisher's loyalty, which again the man is just so loyal to Zach. And it just shows you that when you work with a bunch of asshole directors, like Ben Affleck has worked with so many directors, but then you get a guy like Zach, and it's like they fall in love with him because of his style is different. He's not an asshole. He's showing you what he wants, but he's doing it in a nice way, and he's like one of the boys. He works out with them. He's just one of the guys, and I think that's why they love him so much.
Yeah, actors call him a calming, fun presence on set. He's a very fun guy, and he's always very open and just open and honest with the actors, and just tells them like, yeah, this is what we would like to do because it's awesome, and he lets them know like this is going to be epic. Like he's having fun with them. He's fanboying out with these actors, and I agree. It definitely is showing his loyalty. And also and you mentioned the idea that a lot of people are pointing out that, a lot of directors like this. That's true, but it doesn't mean that has to be that way. It doesn't mean that's the right way to do things. Yeah. And I think Ray Fisher's making a good point of that is like, yeah, you can be a director in Hollywood and be successful, but still be a nice guy. And Zack Snyder is proving that, as difficult as his road has been.
Exactly. And we got Hardboiled Entertainment. Haven't seen you in a while, Eric. I'm happy you're on board right now. So he's saying, Louis Centeno said yesterday that he's heard that a key actress in the cast is going to follow up from Ray Fisher. And, I'm happy you point that out because a lot of people have been saying that. And a lot of people have been saying that they hope that people come to Ray's aid because right now it looks bad. It's just him. So they need more people from the set to come out and speak on his behalf. And I think they will. I don't think they're going to keep him high and dry. But again, only time will tell. We'll just have to wait.
Reported the mother, the actress that played his mother. She also
Karen,
confirmed, what he was saying. From what Hardboiled is saying, I'm going to discount Gal because she has a movie coming up, so I don't think you're gonna hear that much more controversy. Same thing with the Snyder Cut when they were interviewing her and Patty, she was just like, oh, she's not gonna touch it.
Well, it all depends, though. It all depends on what is in the crystal ball for Joss Whedon, because rumor has it that there's some dirt, some very, very bad, stinky, smelly, disgusting dirt that's going to be revealed about Joss Whedon very, very shortly, which essentially would mean that Joss Whedon would be done anyway. So actors and actresses coming out distancing themselves from that guy
after that
might be the best thing that could happen. And at that point, even if Wonder Woman comes out and does that, well,
yeah. I mean, after something big dropped, yes, she'd have a little bit more, leeway or a safety net coming out and making statements of her own or whatever, because I'm sure that, right now she's just, keeping quiet until something like that does happen. Because, I mean, I don't think that I think it's uncharacteristic of Gal to come out and say something like that. Like, she told him on set, she's not going to do the whole Flash thing where, she's underneath, Ezra or whatever for that one off weird shot that didn't need to be in the movie at all. And
yeah. I mean, did you hear the stuff that Joss Whedon allegedly said to her? Like about how, I'll lock you in your room, I'll steal your Wonder Woman movie, and you won't be a star anymore or whatever. Like, he was really.
No, I mean, that's pretty Christian Bale of him.
Alex,
hey guys,
hey, what's going on, man?
Thanks for joining the stream.
Nice shirt.
No problem. Thank you.
Oh, are you sleeping?
Just woke up.
Oh wow,
It's like 7 a.m.
Wake the fuck up.
Just tired.
Oh, I'm happy you could join us, man.
Thank you for having me on the show. Hey, Zod. Hey, Nerdy.
Hey.
How's everyone?
Hey. Doing good. It's good to meet you. Good to see you. Good to talk to you. Yeah.
So
what do you think about the Ray Fisher statements?
Finally, everything's coming up now. I've been suspecting everyone, like conspiracy theory, who did it, like, who ruined it, like, going all crazy. But, now that Ray Fisher has come out and is saying what he's saying, I'm not surprised. I mean, He did come from Marvel, so, he was a 00 to begin with.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And again, this is just a dumb side note, but I was watching all these interviews of Joss Whedon today. I've never really heard the guy talk because I was trying to put a video together. And I listened to like 3 or 4 different interviews, and every interview he did, he had a different accent. It was the weirdest thing. I was like, for a quick, like, he did one interview, I swear he had an English accent. I was like, is he, like, I swore he was an American. And then I was like, oh, well, his name is Joss, it's not Josh. But then I found another interview, and he's talking completely different. I'm like, this dude, something's wrong with him. He's got a screw loose.
Yeah, well, some people do that, like, when they're talking to somebody with an accent, they'll sort of mirror or mimic the accent here.
Okay.
Some people will do that. It's just it's subconscious. Like, my mom does that. She'll talk to somebody with a drawl, and she'll start talking with a drawl. I'm like, you're not.
Yeah.
What are you doing? And I'll start making fun of her, just to sort of point it out. But yeah, some people do that. They hear it and then they sort of mirror it or mimic it just because it's comfortable.
Yeah.
And they feel like they're speaking their language or whatever. It's just it's odd, yes, but it does happen.
If you ever listen to Andrew Garfield do an interview or speak. He was, I think he was born in England, but he was raised in like New York or something like that. Like, he moved to America like when he was like 9. And if you ever listen to him speak, he goes in and out of the accent. It's very
my uncle he moved to New Zealand, and so now he speaks. Or not now, but I mean, he's always from as far as I've known him, he speaks there with their accent.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, just being around other people, you start kind of mimicking, their verbiage, their cadence and stuff like that. So
you mean like you and Christian Bale?
Well, I channel Christian a little bit, sometimes.
Yeah, no, I definitely vouch for that too, because my older brother lived in New Zealand for a while, and he came back with very much a thick New Zealand accent, especially with his eyes. He's like, "Oi, yeah, very much accentuate that." And I was like, "Ha ha, you got an accent. Now you're in Texas."
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm happy that Ray has come out and he's finally having his voice heard, and like, I'm just waiting for other people to come out on his behalf as well. And it's only going to get even crazier with this, with what went on behind the scenes. And from a while ago, Chris Terrio was talking about he's going to come out and say his piece, and he hasn't yet. But it looks like the NDAs are wearing off, so now they can start to speak. But
I wonder if these NDAs that you speak of actually have like a date, and everybody has like an individual date that their NDA is good until, and then after that date they can say whatever the hell they want. So for Ray Fisher, the end of the day was earlier in the week, the last NDA, and for Gal Gadot it won't be until like 2 Fridays from now, so we won't hear any. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder if that's how it is, if it's that specific.
Maybe I don't know.
For an individual.
Yeah, I don't know. But
Tyler,
but the timing for this, for what Ray Fisher is doing right now, it's very, like, it's odd. At the same time, it's the right time because of everything that's happening politically. So no matter what, I don't think whether Warner Brother likes it or not, they will do anything to Ray Fisher right now, considering he was, like, as as a person of color, he was the one who suffered the most by his scenes being cut and his story being taken out of Justice League.
Yeah.
That's true, because he lost his movie for a while, and that was all down the drain. And Tyler and Zod, you bring up a great point about the NDAs. That was the first thing that came to my head when I saw those comments from him, was like, oh, his NDA's up. He's got a new contract. He's allowed to say whatever he wants about the old movie because he's not contractually obligated to not talk about that anymore.
Right. It's all contractually political. So if you don't have an NDA, you can now start hyping and talking about your next project and talk all the crap you want about the prior project. And what I think is so funny is, like, it's like what we were talking about yesterday. This kind of comes off to me like an old wrestling feud, like a working shoot, like where a wrestler will come on stage and will say something real about another wrestler to further the plot line of a story. But there's truth to what he's actually saying. It's alluding to a real feud or a real disagreement or something that's going on. And I kind of feel like that's what Ray Fisher's doing, because, Parademon 44 made a very, very good comment in the chat. I don't know if you've seen this yet, Subjective, but if it's okay, I'd like to read the comment if I could come across it here.
Is it this one?
Yeah. He says, why do other cast members have to say anything now? They have a long rope just saying. I think we're missing the point to this. This was supposed to rile up the people, not Hollywood. And I think, in 44, I think you're exactly right. It's riling us up. It's riling up the fans. It's riling up the people that are paying attention to this and have wanted to know the inside dirt and have had suspicions since the beginning of the Snyder Cut movement. And it's not going to change the way things are in Hollywood, because look at how John Berg responded. He truncated it all down and simplified it and made it seem like it was all just because Ray Fisher was upset that he had to say booyah. I mean, in all honesty,
stupid.
Yeah. In all honesty, we just had Karen Bryson, who plays Ray Fisher's mother in the Snyder Cut. We had her recently tweet where she backed up Ray Fisher. So I don't think it's a case of needing vindication by hearing it from other people. But I think ultimately, if other cast members were to come out and say, it definitely helps the case. Else, well, it's not even that it doesn't help the case. I mean, because Ray Fisher's got nothing.
I was saying it does help the case if more comes out.
Right? It does help the case. But what I'm saying is, Ray Fisher coming out and saying that, his word is good enough. I mean, he has credibility. It's not like he would just be making it up. I mean, you can go back and look at previous. Look at the Comic-Con videos. What we were talking about. It looks like he's practically in tears when he made that bogus statement about being happy about Joss Whedon. So
because I mean, that's what I was looking at the Comic-Con footage. We can imply anything we want, and we can project anything we want to what we see on the screen. So, oh, look at him. Oh, that's where he was about to cry. But in actuality, we really don't know. So having somebody else come and corroborate helps legitimize his stance and say, okay, you know what? If that's the same thing with anything. I mean, you get into a car wreck, the first thing you want to do is find a witness, because it can't just be that your statement is or your word is good enough. It's got to be that this has been substantiated and corroborated by someone else, someone outside of the two parties that are the one party that's accusing the other. And so right now, Ray has accused Joss and he's implicated Jeff Johns and John Berg. So John Berg's coming back and saying something ridiculous, which is retarded of him to do, but the other two are silent. So
I think the other two realize what would be at stake if they come out and say something stupid like what John Berg said.
Jones doesn't lose anything more.
Yeah. It's like you gotta figure it's like this. Jeff Johns has fallen from grace so hard that if anything else happens, he might as well just pack it up because he's never gonna do anything comics related again. He's done. So it's in his best interest, if you think about it, not to say anything. And sometimes it is better not to say anything at all. John Berg making the comment that he made, it just all that does is give more credit to Ray Fisher.
Exactly.
My favorite quote.
It's so stupid.
My favorite quote about Jeff Johns, actually, and I don't always agree with things that she says, but Grace Randolph said this a couple months ago, where she said, "It's apparent that Jeff Johns does not know how to be a proper showrunner." And I made a video about that, and I was just like, no, duh. Like, really? Like, I had no idea. Thank you.
I like to point out the obvious.
Yeah. Good job, Grace.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what Parademon's saying, and also Greg Rivers is in here saying the same thing. Like, why does he need other people to come out and be by his side? Right. It's true. It just, at the end of the day, it just looks better. That's all. I completely agree with Ray. I believe him 100%. He has no reason to lie. I believe that. I'm just saying that. And he doesn't need people to come out on his behalf. But I'm just saying it just looks a little better if they do. But they probably won't because they're in a better position than him, and they're not going to run their mouths.
Well, I'm not so sure about that. I think Ray Fisher probably has a new contract, which is why he's afforded the freedom to actually speak up. I don't think he would say this if he didn't have something secure.
I don't think he's just popping off, at the mouth.
Right. I mean,
okay, like, yes, you can go ahead and say, I can do that. Yes, you can go ahead and say, okay, I'm going to go ahead. Okay, go right ahead and do it.
Well, that's the best thing right now is this split. You have Warner Brothers and you have Warner Media. HBO, AT&T over here, and then you have Warner Brothers, and then AT&T, they want to give us everything that we want and more. So. If they over here gave Ray Fisher a contract to be Cyborg for HBO Max and his own series, whatever, then he can talk mad shit about the people over at WB.
Yeah, and I'm sure one of the people that has his back is Zach, because the tweet that he tweeted out yesterday, like, I vehemently, or what is it? I retract, wholeheartedly the statement at the Comic-Con. I forgot what it was.
Forcibly retract.
Yeah. Yes. And that verbiage right there, just goes to show you that it was something that was well thought out. It wasn't just like, I'm just going to use these words that I found in this thesaurus. It was, I need to show my allegiance, I need to realign myself with Zach, and Zach liked. So.
Yeah, he did.
No, sorry, go on.
Oh, no, you're good, Alex. That was my done stamp.
All right. So did you guys check out the interview that Ray did with Jonita Davis on her website?
We actually talked about that. Yeah,
it was amazing. Right. We actually had Jonita on our show, and she talked about it. And it was Jonita is awesome, man. Salt of the earth, right there. I tell you.
Yeah, so that whole conversation kind of puts everything into perspective as to what Ray Fisher has done. He said it. I think loyalty is more to him because Zach and Chris Terrio spoiled him. Like he was saying it during the shoot of Justice League, and how much he was involved in the process of, because he said, I think my memory is a bit foggy, that he not only is he playing a person of color who is the heart of the movie, but he is also an amputee. So he has to represent, these things properly. And he was, involved. Zach made sure that Ray Fisher worked hand in hand with Chris Terrio in developing Cyborg for Justice League. Right. So after all the work that he did and how much Zach, and Chris Terrio allowed him to flourish as an actor of color in Hollywood in a big budget movie, that's why Ray is so loyal to Zach and everything since the very beginning. I mean, look at him. He literally gave up his Hollywood career and started, Twitch streaming and everything. All the while, he just kept, only for Zach. That's it.
Yeah. That's a great point.
Zach spoiled him. So, he said that maybe that kind of skewed his perception of what a director does, but that doesn't excuse somebody trying to be abusive on set.
Right.
So.
And I like that you bring that up because, again, it points out the difference between Zack Snyder and other directors, and we mentioned before how Zack, brings his actors into the creative process. He doesn't just simply impose what he wants on the actors. He allows them to kind of think like, do you think Batman would do this? Or like, how do you feel about this? And they're like, okay, yeah, that's why they all have a fun time on set. That's why Ben Affleck had a better time on set of BVS than Justice League. Simple as that.
Exactly. All right, well, let's get into the next topic. Enough of that negativity. Let's get into some good stuff.